Thanks for catching me
right in the
mid-yawn.
yawn.
Appreciate that. uh, well,
How's it going tonight, John?
it is going all right. It is going all right. Evidently, I'm having network problems because we've tried to start this 3 times and, well, all right. I think I can hear you.
Okay.
It's all good.
We'll just roll with it.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm cooled, cooler in the physical sense, not the mental.
Oh, it was
It was a hot one this weekend
today compared to how it has been. Yeah. Did we set the all-time heat record for Portland 3 days in a row?
I think it was 3 days straight.
Yeah.
It was like 107, then 112 or 13, and then 116 or 117. Then, Saturday, Sunday, Monday was bang, bang, bang.
Brutal.
And then today was 72. So
yeah, like
back to normal.
40-degree difference.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really happy today that it was better because today was stack hay in the shed day, which is much more pleasant to do at 72 degrees than it is at 102 degrees. Just saying. So, well, actually, I should say, at no point is it pleasant.
I was going to say.
So in all cases, the actual, the measurement on the pleasantness scale is below 0, but it is more pleasant to do it at 70 degrees than it is at 100 and something degrees. But anyway, yeah. Just to be clear.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. Although I can't complain because my neighbor did most of the work with his tractor. So, hey, but which, although we were just one of the things that happened this past weekend, at least for us, like, we have chores and stuff that we have to do. And then my wife was having to check on the animals like every hour or two. But, I was done with anything I wanted to do outside by like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at the outside latest.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was already, I think Sunday it was 95-ish by like 8 or 8:30 in the morning. I mean, it was hot fast. Yeah. And, but anyway, just as I was heading in Sunday morning, I was, like, I think pretty much literally walking back up to the house, and my neighbor comes over and he's like, "Hey, can you help me?" I'm like, "Yep, I can help you," because that's, he does a lot of stuff for us, and if I can help, I'm there for him on the weekend, I guess, because generally I can't really do much during the week. And so, he wanted my help down in the field stacking hay. That was not work. It was basically just driving a tractor. And so we're down there and, loading up the hay and stuff like that. And then he popped a hydraulic belt and just sprayed hydraulic fluid all over himself. And I mean, I was probably 20, 30, maybe even 40 feet away. And there was a nice mist that came, down over everything. And so that was, he did not have a great Sunday. I don't know if it was heat related or just, he likes to say all of his equipment is old, which is true. He kind of keeps it running, but anyway, nothing that he has to worry about John Deere and the right to repair lobby at the moment.
He can repair all. He has no smart tractors, is
tractors.
What you're saying.
I don't know if I've said, I probably have on the podcast once or twice, but I love watching him work because, it's ironic, but, we could sit on our back deck and, if he's out working in his fields and doing stuff, he'll have like 5 tractors. And he's just like, he hops off one, gets on another, hops off that one, gets on another, has another one pulling a tank with water, has another one pulling maybe a fuel tank, has another one with trailer. I mean, he's got a, he doesn't have a Swiss Army knife. He has a pocket full of single-use pocket knives. But it sure makes it handy
right.
for like, a one person doing all this stuff. Anyway, that was that's a lot of tractor talk. Hello, welcome to Tractor Talk. Anyway, it was hot. Really glad we had AC.
Yes, it was.
I probably spent 12 hours Saturday just down in the basement playing games with my boys. And, we kind of popped upstairs to get food and then came back downstairs. That was it. Which actually was not a bad day. All things said.
It sounds very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I binged watched Netflix shows of various types with different family members during the day, but I pretty much stayed in the basement most of the day.
They swapped in
on Sunday. Yeah, they kind of swapped in. It got to the point till Dad irritated them. Then they left. they were done with Dad. They had their fill of Dad and Dad jokes for the
Dad
day,
quota,
and decided to move on. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I tweeted a reply to somebody today on about my Father's Day T-shirt, which says, "Dad joke. I think you mean rad joke." Which literally was the T-shirt that my wife got for me, and to which my son did this massive eye roll. Oh my gosh! And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally wearing this in public with you.
Yeah. Well, because the great thing is, rad is back. It's what the kids are. Well, it's probably gone again now that I've said it.
Probably.
But at one point, I do know that the phrase "rad" had made a comeback.
Oh. Well, I was unaware of that.
So,
but okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's probably gone already by now, but yeah,
it's good to know. Yeah. All right. Anything else interesting happen this weekend? I don't know. We had a lot of work to try and keep our critters and plants alive. We lost a chicken. That was sad. That was sad. But she was an old one, like one of our first chickens that we got. She had a name, Streak,
which is a great name for a chicken. By the way,
yeah, it was.
I love the name of Streak for a chicken.
Exactly. No, she was an Americana, and we got her like 9 years ago, maybe 10. I don't think she's laid an egg for a couple of years, and but, she was one of our first chickens, of which we still have 2 left of our first 4, which is, I guess I don't know how long chickens live for. More than 9 years. There you go. I don't know.
Apparently.
I guess Wikipedia would probably tell me if I Googled it, but I've not, I think, ever cared to Google it. Anyway. Well, I feel bad for the people east of us that heat dome is kind of heading their way,
floating that direction.
But it's nice to be back to normal. So
yeah.
All right.
Well, speaking of heading that direction, I am going to be on a plane tomorrow for the first time, I think, in almost 2 years.
That's right.
Flying out to pick up daughter number 1 and drive home for the summer.
You'll be
flying
through and then driving back through that heat dome.
I don't know exactly where it sits now, but the car has air conditioning.
Well, make sure you got a spare gallon of water just in case to put in the radiator. Come on, that's a dad not joke. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, Ever. I'm amusing myself. Yeah. It's
alrighty.
Boy, I think my last business trip was probably last February. So it's been 15 months, 16 months. It's pretty crazy.
I don't actually remember the last trip I took. So
this is not a bad thing.
I mean, I'm sure I can look it up, but
yeah, no,
it's been a great change of pace.
Exactly.
All pandemic things considered, it's been.
I have not missed traveling.
That's a better way to say it.
Yeah. So, although it would. We sort of had planned for a big trip to Europe this summer, which didn't happen. Although, in order for that to happen, I would have had to get my kids' not birth certificates, passports, which I have not done yet.
Passports?
So,
yeah,
hey, next summer. That's what I tell myself. Next summer. Anyway, we'll see. All right.
Alrighty.
Let's get into topics and such. I had one piece of follow-up. So last week, one of my topics, I think I called it a 3/4 topic, was about a Twitter thread about some signed drivers by Microsoft. Not just signed drivers, but Microsoft signed drivers that were malicious and that it did not appear to have been signed, or they should not have been able to get signed in the first place. And obviously problematic, because signing with a Microsoft certificate can bypass a lot of trust, or grants a high level of trust. So Microsoft has responded actually a few days ago, and said that they were investigating this a malicious actor distributing malicious drivers, quote, within gaming environments. So I don't think it was clear from last week that why. It was clear that the drivers were contacting command and control servers in China, but I think that was the main thing that the Twitter threads had. This says, Microsoft goes on to say that, quote, the actor submitted drivers for certification through the Windows Hardware Compatibility Program, and that the drivers were built by a third party. We've suspended the account and reviewed their submissions for additional signs of malware. So they didn't actually point the finger at who the, quote, third party is, but the hardware compatibility program is what Microsoft works with OEMs to, have OEMs submit their drivers for signing. Let's see. It says, well, one of the other things in here, it says that, quote, we have seen no evidence of the WHCP signings, that the WHCP signing certificate was exposed. The infrastructure was not compromised. So, that's obviously one of the first things is, so did Microsoft sign it unintentionally, or was the Microsoft certificate exposed somehow so that the bad actors could sign anything they wanted? Obviously, if the signing certificate's not actually exposed, that's the better of those options. They also said that they have, quote, built-in detection and blocking of this driver and associated files through Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and that they are sharing these detections with other AV security vendors so they can proactively deploy detections. I think that all that means is that, they flagged it as malicious for Defender. And I mean, even when I was Googling, I think I mentioned last week that when I had looked up a few of the hashes in VT and, could see detections, including for McAfee's. One of the reasons I was looking at that, at least. So there's a couple other interesting things in this article that I'll link here. The first is they say, the actor's activity is limited to the gaming sector, specifically in China, and does not appear to target enterprise environments. Okay. And it says the actor's goal is to use the driver to spoof their geolocation to cheat the system and play from anywhere. The malware enables them to gain an advantage in games and possibly exploit other players by compromising their accounts through common tools like keyloggers. So, I don't know. So the first part of that says to me, what was that? Pokemon Go, right? Oh, I'm over here. Yeah. Let me collect. I'm over here. Collect. The second part is more of a, botnet or something like that, kind of traditional malicious software attempting to get, infect somebody else's device and then, monitor them as they log into a game and, get their username, password, that kind of thing. So, it does say they do not appear to target enterprise environments. So, okay. And then the last quote I pulled out of this one, I think, was, quote, "We will be sharing an update on how we are refining our partner access policies, validation, and assigning process to further enhance our protections." So, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see if they change something. There was a comment in the Twitter thread last week that the Microsoft had stopped requiring co-signing of drivers, evidently not terribly long ago. And so, I wonder if revisiting that policy might be one of the things that they would take, but I guess that's pure speculation. So, it says there's no actions customers should take other than to follow security best practices and deploy antivirus software. So, there you go.
There you go.
Anyway, so my 3/4 topic was actually, I guess, a real one. Given it a couple extra days to to cook in the Twitter sphere. All right, how about your topics this week? What'd you bring me?
Oh, okay. So my topic, I have one topic this week, and it, I suppose, hit home a little bit close this time in multiple different ways. But mine is a FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center report. And it's centered around elder fraud. So the FBI has a nice white paper kind of detailing in 2020 the different types of fraud. In 2020, there were over $1 billion reported in losses from online fraud, 105,000 victims. And these are just the victims over 60. So that, it's centered most on elder fraud. And I think my daughter was almost caught up in a scam, an eBay scam, trying to sell something online. And my mom recently was, not particularly recently, I think I talked about it a while ago on the podcast, but, had a scammer contact her to say she needed to upgrade her security software, somehow.
Yeah.
So it's been on my mind in general lately, just looking at this. And this was interesting from the context of 60, victims who are 60 years and older. And all of us have, I'm sure most of us have friends, family, other loved ones who maybe they're a little bit more trusting. Maybe they're just now joining social media, social networking sites to stay in contact with people and friends. And so it opens the opportunity for scammers to take advantage of someone who's a little more trusting than they should be online. Yeah. But so aside from just general stats, about, victims and how it's been increasing and jumped significantly in 2020, for scams and elder scams, and where around the country, the types of scams that, like the top 5 scams for over 60 are extortion, non-payment or non-delivery, tech support, identity theft, phishing type scams. And what I think is great about this report is, the stats are interesting, and it gives you how much people have lost by type of crime, by type of scam. But it also at the end gives a summary of here's what the scam is. So if you're curious, what is a non-payment, non-delivery scam? It'll describe what the scam is, and cool. Then it will give recommendations on how to protect yourself against these types of scams. And it's not, it's not simply just don't click on links, right? That it goes into a little bit more detail of here's a bunch of things you should do. If you see, here's things that you may see, counterfeit products or someone selling something, you pay them and then it never shows up, right? That kind of thing, how that works and how you can make sure to, what you can do if, you want to protect yourself from this kind of scam, using credit cards because you can dispute charges if something goes wrong. You make sure you have the transaction. When you're looking at the transaction, it doesn't actually say stare at the browser window to make sure there's a lock there, but it's, use well-known types of sites, how to protect yourself, lottery or sweepstakes type scams, how they work, just kind of a short paragraph on how they work, and then how to protect yourself against them. That I thought was good, just to kind of scroll through and see what those kind of things. So if you have a friend, family member, other loved one who may be a victim of that kind of fraud, this is well written for a government document.
Yeah.
Easily understandable to share and say, hey, here's what a tech support fraud looks like. That was what my mom got caught up in. That's what caught my eye this week. And my 2 cents is, hey, it's a great document to read through, share with people, and let them know I am sharing it with my family.
Yeah, I'm kind of paging through the descriptions at the bottom. This is great.
Yeah,
this is really great.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. That's what I had this week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will. I think I will take a copy of this and send it to my parents as well. Nicely done. That's a great topic. All right, what did I do? Now I have to go back to our notes so I can remember what mine were. Okay, I had 2. So the first one, Wayne posted in chat to our our Slack channel. But this was a LinkedIn breach, another LinkedIn breach, because there was one just last year, I think. But this says supposedly exposes the data of 92% of LinkedIn users. More than 700 million of the total of 756 million.
Odds are that I'm in the 8%. That you're in the 8%.
Yeah, right. That is exactly not how odds work. No, yeah, I know. That's a joke. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think that this has been loaded up in Have I Been Pwned yet. I didn't see anything about it yet, but
I'm waiting for my email from from Have I Been Pwned any day now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I haven't gotten an email either. But I don't think it's not like this was posted to a dump site or something like that. It's more that it was for sale on some underground forums. So it says it Yeah, the database is for sale on the dark web with records including phone numbers, physical addresses, geolocation data, and inferred salaries, which is interesting. So, yeah, like that made me go, huh, what does LinkedIn think about me? Because that's not something that they expose through their UI. It's only available through their API for presumably companies that have API access. So let's see. It says that the hacker who obtained the data posted a sample of 1 million records, and checks confirm that the data is both genuine and up to date. And let's see. The other thing they said was, quote, we reached out directly to the user who was posting the data. He claimed the data was obtained by exploiting the LinkedIn API to harvest information that people upload to the site. So that's interesting. The article was recently updated with a Microsoft statement that says, while we're still investigating this issue, I'm quoting, our initial analysis indicates that the dataset includes information scraped from LinkedIn as well as information obtained from other sources. This was not a LinkedIn data breach, and our investigation has determined that no private LinkedIn member data was exposed. Okay. Scraping data from LinkedIn is a violation of our terms of service, and we're constantly working to ensure our members' privacy is protected. This is the sort of statement that makes me go, there's gaps in that big enough to drive a truck through. So, scraping data from LinkedIn is a violation of our terms of service. Probably meaning that if you figured out a way to bypass their API throttle, that's a violation. But presumably, if or to the extent that the data in this, and so I don't know how to, I can't verify whether or not they merge data from multiple sources, which is something that happens all the time. But I would say most of that data, the physical address and geolocation records maybe seem a little suspicious to have available in a partner API, but maybe not. If they want to do location-based advertising, I don't know. The main thing I see on LinkedIn is job offers, that kind of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah.
So the final comment in this article was, because they claim there was no data breach. So the final quote in the article was, and it's not a quote, the article comment is, quote, that someone was indeed able to scrape millions of records, whether using the API or otherwise, is definitely a security breach, which I would say, that's a situation of you keep using that word. That word does not mean what you think it means. Or maybe that word means exactly the way it is being used, data breach. So, yeah, we'll see. So that was my first one. I expect there to be more fallout and information about that over the course of the next week or two, would be my guess. And then my second article is kind of a little up your alley with IoT slant. So this was a Krebs article about Western Digital MyBook Live devices, which are a network storage drive that can be connected to the internet. So a network attached storage, I guess. I don't think that I have any of these. I think all of my, you guys, everybody knows I have a QNAP here, but not a, Western Digital thing. But it says,
right.
Malicious hackers are remotely wiping the drives using a critical flaw that can be triggered by anyone who knows the internet address of an affected device. So if you're using these devices as a backup device and you've got them connected to the internet, like, No bueno. No bueno. Yeah.
Maybe don't do that.
And I'm going to guess that somebody's figured out a Shodan query that basically just says, hey, show me these devices, and are hitting,
of course,
white. Because it says that there were a bunch of there's a lot of forum posts saying, hey, my drive was fine, and now it's reset. What's up? So here's the kind of the kicker here, though, because it has to do with how long is support available for something like a internet connected device. Because these Western Digital products received their final firmware update in 2015. They were mostly sold in, I think it said 2010 to 2012. I don't think I pulled that out. But, so Western Digital is not a, fly-by-night small company, but they do not continue to release security updates past, a couple years after the device is off the, reached end of sale. And I have no idea what their actual policy is. Right. I'm just saying that, 2015 is a couple years after 2012. So it says, we understand that our customers' data is very important. We're actively investigating the issue and will provide an updated advisory when we have more information. Well, the updated advisory that I think they pulled out at some point basically says, sorry, I'm going to totally do a paraphrase. If you care about your data, you should not connect them to the network. Sorry. Right. Let me go back to my notes.
You should stop using this.
So, because the thing is that the CVE that's being exploited was discovered in 2018. So the exploit was found 3 years after the final firmware update was ever pushed. And now, we're 3 years after that, and there's a quote in here by Krebs that says, in some ways it's remarkable it took this long for the vulnerable MacBook devices, sorry, not MacBook, MyBook devices to be attacked, because the 2018 Wiz case write-up, which was the advisory, the write-up on the flaw includes proof of concept code that lets anyone run commands on the devices as root. So, it evidently took a couple years for somebody to decide to just do bad stuff and mean stuff and, terrible stuff to arbitrary devices across the network.
Well, they didn't try to encrypt the stuff and ransomware it. They just wiped it.
Yeah.
So, just seems more like being obnoxious than trying.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It might have been that, it sounds like this is a way. I don't know. I guess if you could get root on it, if you could have installed something, you presumably could have gotten access to the data and figured out a way to do something like that. But it sounds like the primary thing you could do is do administrative commands, and but who knows? Maybe this is a accidental script gone awry, and somebody was still just developing an exploit, and it kind of did quote unquote escaped the lab. So the evidently there was a screenshot in the Krebs article that had enable remote access. So it's probably people that have basically punched a hole through their their gateway and allowed direct access that are getting hit. And, I didn't pull out the quote, but I think it was the Western Digital thing that was like, people, you should just configure your firewall appropriately and only allow, trusted devices to connect to the, either disconnect it from the internet or disconnect it from the network entirely, or only allow trusted devices to connect to it. So, So yeah, but if you have a Western Digital MyBook, maybe don't use that as your primary form of backup. So time to get even if the drive's working, unfortunately, might be time to
upgrade.
So, all right. How about something fun?
All right. So my something fun is a website that you can punch in your birthday, and it will tell you what the number one song was on your birthday. And then it'll do it seems to be a website that does all sorts of those kinds of things. What was the number one movie on your birthday? What was the best-selling fiction book? What was the best-selling nonfiction book? What was the number one Christmas song in the year you were, just a bunch of different, just random data. It seems like someone, I don't see ads on, usually these type of sites, you just see them lined with, Google ads or something, and they're just clickbait sites.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is not a clickbait site, but
they're just kind of fun. Enriching data breaches with birthdays, taking your tokens.
That's right. That's right. So
okay,
I ran this to see what was the number one song on my birthday, and I think we probably would get an issue if we actually tried to play it on the podcast. I don't know how many seconds you can play something before it counts as you need to have license rights to it. But mine was "The Love You Save" by the Jackson 5.
Okay.
So
I didn't actually put in my birthday. I put in like a random random day to see what it was.
Yeah. So I put in, and then you can go in. So then there's also, hey, what's the number one movie? And I put in my good old birthday and the number one movie on my birthday. And what is wrong with people in 1970? Because it's a movie called Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which was NC-17, or is currently rated as NC-17. So, apparently.
Never saw. Never. Yep. Okay.
Anyways, I have no idea what that movie is. I clicked on the, or I didn't click on it. I just Googled Beyond the Valley of the Dolls to see what the heck is that movie, because I didn't know it. It doesn't tell you anything about it on the website. And it was like, oh, this was rated NC-17, and it's for reasons you would imagine something's NC-17. It's like, oh, well, there you go.
Okay, then.
Yay, Mark. Anyways, so there's my something fun. It was just stumbled across this. It is my birthday this week. I thought, hey, what was the number one song on my birthday? Awesome. Here's a chunk of data.
That's awesome.
Anyways, there you go. That's my something fun. Completely pointless things you can do on the internet.
Okay, that is completely. I don't know about pointless, but that is cool. Well, I have two-ish something funs. The first is one's kind of a something fun, and the other's a kind of a something fun follow-up. So the first is today, June 30th, is International Asteroid Day. I didn't really know this till I was like, hey, did I put something fun in notes? And I did put something fun in notes, which was going to be my thing. But then I saw this, and I was like, hey. Actually, I saw some hashtags on Twitter. So actually, I think I'll put in the notes is the hashtag search for Twitter. But there is an asteroidday.org that it says Asteroid Day is a UN-sanctioned global awareness campaign participated annually on 30th of June. Our mission is to inspire, engage, and educate the public about asteroids, opportunities, and risks. Every year, we produce a Asteroid Day Live, a live broadcast with asteroid content and commentary from astronaut celebrities and experts. Anyway, so I thought, oh, who knew? That was cool. So I went out there and browsed a little bit and was like, oh, that's kind of cool. There's got a whole bunch of celebrities and, maybe let's say scientific celebrities touting it. And that was, I thought, well, hey, today is Asteroid Day. Who knew? There's a day for everything, but I'm particularly maybe attracted to space themed things like that. Okay, but my something fun follow-up was an NPR article about CRISPR gene therapy.
Yes.
So we talked, I didn't even look up when this was, but I think it was a couple of years ago, about the sickle cell patients that, I forgot her name. Gray. Something Gray. Anyway, sickle cell patients who have received therapy. And to date, CRISPR gene therapies have been used directly, like for taking so they're the point, or they're good so far against genetic mutations. But with sickle cell, they took they would do blood transfusions, basically take her blood out, or take their blood out, expose the CRISPR edited blood cells, and then re-inject it. But this is the first example of a systemic application of edited genes, which then basically have to get transported by the body to the place where they're supposed to do their work. And being able to do something systemically means that there's there's a lot more things that we could potentially target, since you don't have to, kind of take your liver out and do something with it separately. So this is an article about a guy in Ireland, I thought. Where did it come from? Where do I have that in my... Oh, yep. It says County Donegal in Ireland, where he lives. So Patrick Doherty, evidently he had a rare inherited disease known as... Oh, why did I try to do this? Transthyretin amyloidosis? Amyloidosis? I can't say anything, sorry. And that's actually what had killed his father. So it's a protein based disease, a misshapen protein. And, it's a terrible prognosis. It says this is a condition that deteriorates very rapidly. It's just dreadful. So when he was offered a chance of, kind of acting as a patient in this clinical trial, he says, fantastic, I jumped at the opportunity. So, and then the last week, the researchers reported the first data indicating, and here I'll read this as quote, indicating that the experimental treatment worked, causing levels of the destructive protein to plummet in Doherty's body and the bodies of 5 other patients treated with this approach. I feel fantastic, Doherty says. It's just phenomenal. So let's see where it says. It says CRISPR has already been shown to help patients suffering from the devastating blood disorders sickle cell and beta thalassemia. Doctors are trying to use it to treat cancer and restore vision to people blinded by a rare genetic disorder. And then here's the quote. But those experiments involve taking cells out of the body, editing them in the lab, and infusing them back in, or injecting CRISPR directly into cells that need fixing. This study Doherty volunteered for is the first in which doctors are simply infusing the gene editor directly into patients and letting it find its own way to the right gene in the right cells. In this case, it's cells in the liver making the destructive protein. So that is... there's one other thing in here I wanted to call out. So it says, within weeks, the levels of protein causing the disease plummeted, especially in volunteers who received a higher dose. It's really exciting. And let's see. Patients will have to be followed longer. More patients will have to be treated to make sure it's safe and determine how much it's helping. But I think it's an exciting prospect to think about what we're going to be able to do for good, leveraging CRISPR and Cas9. So I think one of my something funs a few months back was the Human Nature film
Yeah.
This was another kind of article along the same lines that was very exciting. So there you go.
Yeah. CRISPR, mRNA vaccines, lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff.
It's exciting. All right, my friend. Let's call it a night.
Yeah. I got to go pack.
And yep. All right. You fly safe. Don't catch that Delta variant. Sorry.
I'm on Alaska, so we're all right.
But oh, that was bad. Took me a moment. Well played. Well played. Well played. All right. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Have a good night, John. Bye.